So we're here in a field that was obviously combined last fall, was corn. This was very high yielding. We're probably in an area that was well over 300 bushel corn. You know, a lot of guys talk about high residue and how do you manage the residue, and especially in high yield situations. In this area, this was actually the first bean field that we planted, so the residue obviously was not a problem for us. We made a beautiful fall strip and actually planted these beans on April 3rd. We do run a Deere chopping corn head. What we like to do is leave the stalk about a foot to 18 inches tall. We like to cut high and still chop, but then we also run stalk stompers. I really like the stalk stompers for tire wear. Is number one, but also it just creates another breaking point in the stalk, which allows for faster breakdown. And the stalks really just, I mean, you could grab them, pull them, do anything you want with them right now. They're just kind of rotting away. But the one thing in strip till that, you know, trying to just manage the residue. I mean, so we run a 12 row strip till bar and we plant with a 12 row as well. So where we are right now, there's always the rows that seem like they get driven on by the tractor from the strip till bar and from the planter tractor. Those rows looks like they don't have much residue to them. When you get to the rows that have never been driven on, you get a lot more residue still standing. You know, nothing's ever been pushed to the ground, but it's still never an issue. It's more of a cosmetic thing than anything. You can just, your eyes always go to the areas of, you know, darker ground, more you can see. But for managing the residue, we've been very happy with the Deere chopping corn head. We had some issues in the past of plugging with the double windrow effect, which a lot of people are familiar with. What we actually did for this year, so we run an 8 row 608 John Deere head. We took off the rolls on rows 7 and 8, and we put the new Deere RowMax rolls on them. So the RowMax roll is a lot like, it's just an aggressive roll, kind of like a calmer type roll. And we put that on rows 7 and 8, and we shut the chopping corn head off on those 2 rows. The reason we did that is I stopped that windrow effect between row 8 and row 1 when you go back and forth. That has been probably one of the biggest issues we had with strip tilling corn stalks for plugging, was that row. You could pick it out no problem. Since we did that this last fall, we have had, I think we plugged twice on 1,600 acres, and I know one of them for sure was my own fault. So it's a little bit of a Frankenstein setup, but we really like the chopping corn head. You know, leaving the stalks a little higher, that really helps just to keep the residue in your fields. You know, if you run your chopping cord on all the way down, you can have residue blow into the ditches and all over. But we really like leaving them a little taller, chopping with a stalk stomper, and then that row 7 and 8 now, we run that roll on it. You can notice that roll, the one roll, number 8, it would usually be a little bit taller because obviously the chopping knife is going to be a little lower than what the rolls are. But overall, I've been very, very happy with what we see so far. Hopefully we can keep that going in the future. I see no reason why not, but as of right now, I mean, when you start talking high corn residue, you know, in our area in Wisconsin, you know, we really didn't get a lot to break down. I know a lot of guys question why we strip till for soybeans and not just no-till. I don't know what the planting date would have been on this for no-till. What strip till gives me is the earliest possible planting date with the best conditions. And some years it's April, some years it might not be till the first part of May, but it gives me the best possibility of planting in great conditions.